Next week we get to begin a new series. I'm going to be going through the parables of Jesus. And we're going to be talking about what Jesus taught, how he taught them, and why he gave the messages that he gave through these stories. A parable simply is a story with a purpose. And so next week we're going to look at the lost sheep and why Jesus would tell a story about a sheep that was lost and what that was meaning and why he told it. This week, however, we're going to continue and finish up our series on putting on the armor. It's been fun for me over the last 6 weeks to be in Ephesians. I really enjoy Ephesians. I enjoy it even more now that I've studied it a little deeper, and once again, it's one of those books that have so many good things for us as Christians and our life, in our living, as what we do and who we are. It really for me at least, touched something in my heart that made it all worthwhile. And I hope that some of you got something out of it as well throughout the series. But today we get to wrap it up with chapter 6. And we get to start. I was hoping there'd be more teenagers here and more children here today. But since my 4 are the only ones here, guys, listen up. Children, obey your parents. End of sermon. Okay. Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord. For this is the right thing to do. So who do the kids belong to? They belong to the Lord. And what's the right thing to do? Obey their parents. Teenagers, pre-teenagers, children. I love verse 2. It says, honor your mother or your father and your mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. And I really expect Paul to almost say something. The promise is this: if you honor your mother and father, they won't kill you. If you obey your parents, they won't have to, suffocate you in your sleep. But instead, he says this: if you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth. So basically, that's what he does say. Obey your parents, and you don't die early. Now, that's kind of tongue-in-cheek for me. Go back to that slide, please. Jesus wants us to honor our parents. Now, I am 37 years old. My parents are approaching 60. And I still try and honor my mother and my father in a lot of different ways. I must love my mother and father because yesterday I spent 4 hours on a ladder at their house with a pressure washer in one hand and holding onto the ladder for dear life in the other, as I was pressure washing their house for them, getting it ready to paint. My dad cannot get up and down ladders. He is physically unable to do the work that he would like to do. And so when he said, we got to paint our house, but I don't know how it's going to happen. Click, click. I'm painting this summer for a guy. I'll bet you that I could get it painted for you. Well, I don't know how much it would cost. I don't know how much. Dad, let me take care of it. Talk to my boss. He gave him a discount that was well within their budget, well within their price range, as long as I was willing to do the extra work that normally he would hire somebody to do as volunteer for my parents. I love my mom and dad. More than that, I love my grandmother. She makes cookies. And she lives there with my parents. But I want to honor my parents. You know how much the parents have done for me? I mean, they have loved me. They have clothed me. They made sure I was in school. They made sure that I was living my life well and everything else. Why wouldn't I want to honor my parents? They let me live. And they shouldn't have let me live. I got news for you. And they put forth an example to me what godly parents look like. And I want to lift them up, and I want to honor them in all the ways that I can. And I hope that my kids will someday see the same thing. that their parents love them and their parents wanted to set forth a good example for them, and that they will honor their parents. And honestly, I can say this publicly and even on the web later. My kids have honored their parents. They're all in school. They all do well in school. They don't get in trouble. They've done the things that they've been taught to do. Now, they're still normal, average teenagers and normal, average children. They still disobey every once in a while. But I'm very thankful that my kids are not brats and that they honor their parents by doing that. And this lesson doesn't just go for my kids. It doesn't just go for any of the kids that might hear this. It goes for us to honor our Heavenly Father as well. It isn't just about our earthly parents anymore. It's about us honoring God for all the things that He's done. I mean, think about it. The creator of everything, the creator of the earth, the creator of the moon and the stars and the universe, chose to create you and chose to love you. Why wouldn't we honor Him back by obeying the commands that He gives us? Why wouldn't we want to do the things that God asks us to do? He goes on in verse 4, says, "Fathers, don't provoke your children to anger by the way that you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord." So it's not my job to tick off my kids. And I would add there, and mothers. We don't need to tick off our kids. There's no point in it. It doesn't do any good to harp on them, to ride them, to beat them, to guide them into something that's going to cause destruction in their life. It's our job to bring them up in the way that God would want them brought up. And that goes beyond just parents. It goes to the people that affect our children. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you're like, "Oh, I'm turning this off. I don't have any kids. See you later." Well, it goes to those that are around kids. I've had a lot of people that were adopted parents in my life that I looked up to, that I followed and I tried to mimic and things like that when I was growing up. They were good examples to me. And we, as adults, should be the same example to those kids around us that aren't ours necessarily. But God has put them in our life for a time. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with deep respect and fear. Serve them sincerely as you would serve Christ. Try to please them all the time, not just when they are watching you. As slaves of Christ, do the will of God with all of your work, or all of your heart. Work with enthusiasm as though you are working for the Lord rather than for people. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a slave. Nobody owns me. And this kind of is passé, but some days when I'm at work, I feel like I'm the slave to somebody else. And so I take this as part of what my job is as somebody who works. I try and do my best even when my boss isn't looking. I try and do my best just because of the satisfaction that comes from that job being well done. And I try and honor my boss even when they don't deserve it. And he goes on to talk to the bosses, the slave owners. He says, "Remember that the Lord will reward each one of us that is good, or for the good that we do, whether we are slaves or free." And then he goes, "Masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember, you both have the same master in heaven, and He has no favorites." Did you hear that, guys? God doesn't have favorites, except for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and me, and everybody else. He loves us all unconditionally. He loves us all with a self-sacrificing kind of love. He doesn't have favorites. He even gave up His own Son to die for us, to show that He loves us all.